Hey friends, as many of you know, this is the year I'm finally publishing my young adult fantasy novel On Wings of Ash and Dust. And many of you have been asking, this is not the real cover is coming soon. But something else you might not know is that before I publish this story as a full-length novel, I'm actually going to be publishing it as a serial, which is a publishing strategy that can potentially help you grow an engaged readership fast. So if you want to learn more, today I am going to be, skip to that. Today I'm going to be joining my friend Leigh-An Johnson in her new serial writers tag, where we'll answer questions, sharing some fun details about our upcoming books, what a serial is, how and why we are publishing them this way, and when we hope to publish, which is going to be fun. After this video, be sure to check out Leigh-An's video, which is linked down below. And if you are writing a serial story, let us know that in the comments right now. And we would love to connect you by having you do this tag too. There's going to be 7 questions that are all in the description down below. And you can answer these questions in your own YouTube video or an Instagram post. And you just need to use the hashtag serial writers tag and tag Leigh-An and I. And we would love to watch it and connect a bunch of serial writers together. But before I go into answering the tag questions for my own story, let's quickly review what a serial is, because it is different from a novel, a series of novels, or a novella, and why it might be a good publishing strategy. Last year, I did a whole series on this topic, and you can check out that playlist link down below. But we're going to do a really quick recap for anybody who might not be familiar. And I am going to say a quick hi to everybody in the comments right now, because this is a live stream. So I see Ren and Jennifer and Dania and a bunch of you. I'm so excited that you're here. And hopefully let me know if this makes sense about what a serial is, because the best way I've seen people explain it is that a serial, if a full-length novel is most like a movie. So let's start with that. If a full-length novel is most like a movie in the sense that it is a one story that tells a story from beginning, middle, and end, and it's usually a longer form story, then a serial is most like a TV show, but in book form. And I'm going to show a few examples to kind of stretch this out here. So first, I'm going to start with a TV show, and I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you haven't watched that show, you definitely should. I highly recommend. But like most TV shows, it has these elements. It is a collection of short episodes. So instead of full-length movies, we have a series of short episodes that each have its own mini episode arc that wraps up by the end. And also, it usually ends on a cliffhanger or some kind of hook that leads into a continuing season arc for the whole season. Ultimately, the episodes lead to that big season finale that we all love that wraps up that season arc and possibly ends on a cliffhanger to lead into season 2. Now, similar to this is a book serial, like Sarah Kale Wilson's Dragon School. It is a series of shorter episodes, which are usually around novella size. So they are about 17 to 30K is what I've seen words, that are fast released. And so imagine getting like a new episode of your favorite book series instead of just a TV series every week or every other week or every couple of weeks. So this creates, if you're writing a serial, it creates bingeable content for your readers, which can help you grow your readership and keep them engaged. Also, after all the episodes of a season are released, often an author will package multiple episodes or all the episodes into a box set or a physical full-length book, like the authors of the Charlie Travesty serial have done. I first started pursuing this serial strategy with a brand new story idea I had last year called Sisters of the Shadowwood, and ended up chronicling the plotting, the drafting, the editing, all of that here on YouTube. So if you want to learn even more about serials and about that specific story, which I do hope to publish someday in the future, you can check out the full playlist link down below. But for reasons I'll explain in a minute, I decided to publish my full-length novel On Wings of Ash and Dust as a serial first. And because of the nature of the story's plot is a big reason why I'm choosing to publish it as a serial, let's kick off the serial writers tag questions by recapping what this story is all about. And I'm actually going to be a bit of a rebel and start with question number 2 of the tag, which is, what is your pitch or tagline? And I haven't released pitches for each of the individual episodes, but for the overall story, the overall serial, this is it. Pixie pirate Quinn battles a mute beast tamer, a flirtatious merman, a blind artist, and a pompous princess for the fairy crown. But as an ancient prophecy entwines their fates, rivals must become allies before there's no world left to rule. Basically, think of a snarky female anti-hero in the book To Kill a Kingdom, meeting a misfit band of unlikely friends like Six of Crows, all of them fairies with wings like Carnival Row, the TV show, competing in a Hunger Games / Tri-Wizard tournament type competition in an epic fantasy world like Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth. These are just some of the comp titles I have been thinking of using to market this story. So let me know if you're a fan of any of these and how this story is sounding to you so far. I also recently watched a new show on Netflix called Fate: The Winx Saga, which had teen fairies in it, which I was super excited. And I found some similarities between my story and theirs, which was fun. But where if you watch that show, Winx is definitely a little more contemporary and has more of a Harry Potter, Hogwarts kind of vibe with teen fairies, whereas mine is definitely more like Hunger Games, like factions with teen fairies. So hopefully that makes sense. And I do see Leigh-An here, so I'm just going to pull her up real fast because Leigh-An is going to be sharing about her story in a little while on her own channel. So you guys should definitely check that out. And I'm loving it. Thank you, Mandy. She said, oh my God, I love this. Yay. I'm so glad this is sounding like a fun story to you guys. JJ, yay. Thank you. And JJ was actually one of my original beta readers. I'm excited for her to read the final version. Okay. So let's talk about where I got the inspiration for the story. And then I'll talk more about serials and the publishing strategy I'm looking to take. But I'm going back to question 1 of the tag. And what's the inspiration for your story? Well, when I first started getting serious about publishing a few years ago, I remembered a story I wrote in middle school. Now, where do I have that? I actually have the original notebook, and I'll pull this up real fast so you guys can see it. This is with all the stickers, this is my original middle school notebook that I was plotting this series in. This original story that I was thinking about. And it also was set in a world of fairies with a bunch of different fairy kinds and was about a group of teen fairies trying to save their world. And I have sketches in here and world bios and all kinds of stuff. Now, let me just say that the addition of that story, it was super cheesy and so different than what I have now. But when I was thinking about publishing and trying to pick a story idea, I loved the fairy element and the general heart of the story and the themes that were in it. So I took that and started plotting on Wings of Ash and Dust from there. And obviously, I've also been inspired by the many comp titles I just mentioned before as well. I just saw Amanda, that's so adorable. I had one like that with stickers too. Yay, I'm glad I'm not alone. And then Majestically, my Leah says, that is so cool that you were inspired to write this story in middle school and you still have the notebook. I love it. Yay, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely really different. And maybe someday I will do a video where I share the differences between the stories, maybe even share snippets of my very early middle school work. But let's move on because I want to tell you more about the world and conflict of this specific story. And because it's definitely changed a lot. And what I like to do is actually throw up this graphic, which I've shared on my channel before, about my 5 fairy clans. And each clan is most distinguished by 3 elements, the type of wings they have, where they live, and their highest value. So for example, Gwillians live in the mountains and they value strength and they have dragon-like wings. This is where my main character comes from. Then we have nymphs who live in the sea and they value beauty and they have fin-like wings. You might identify with the sylphs, who are more of the bookish fairies. They value knowledge and they have bird-like wings and they live in the sky. Kobolds, if you're a creative, just artsy type, you might identify with the kobolds. They live in the tunnels and they have bat-like wings. The dryads, if you love animals, they have traditional fae wings and they live in the woods and have really strong connections with the animals and they value life. And then if you don't know where you fit, we also have the vagrants, who are more of the outcasts and misfits, but they do sort of join into certain groups like the pirates. and different things like that. And if you can't really pick between two different fairy clans, there's also hybrids in there as well. So if you had to pick one clan that you could join, I would love for you to let me know, just based on the information I shared, which clan you'd identify with in the comments. That would be really fun. To give you more context too, where we begin at the beginning of this story is at the beginning, one clan is ruling the rest, but there's abuse of power, there's clashing values and dwindling resources, and all these clans are at odds because of it. And so there's threats of war, but to avoid this war, an ancient competition between the clans is resurrected to peaceably decide which clan is worthy enough to rule. But the competition is not so peaceful for the competitors, at least. And there are many other dangers and mysteries lurking in the shadows that the young competitors end up facing. So we're going to get into question number 4 is, why did I decide to make this story a serial? But I'm going to look over at the comments real fast because I see some fun ones popping up here. Let's see. Mary says, I've only read Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and the first Hunger Games book, but I don't know the other comp titles. I would definitely check them out. All of those are some of my favorites. Let's see. Martin wants to be a sylph/dryad mix. Cam loves them all. Jenna says dryad, just to live in the woods. Agreed. Thomas says vagrant all the way. Dania says cobalt, and Amanda says cobalt too. Love it. Let's see. Also from Leah says, just curious, Brittany, how do you make something that has been used tons and tons of times, like fairies, feel original to your story? Well, hopefully, as you heard some of the world building and conflict stuff that I have, it was definitely a joy to kind of pull out all of these different things that I love and put them together. And I have read other books, contemporary books with fairies in them, more recent ones. But as I was reading them, I was like, that's not how I picture fairies at all. Or I sort of identify with that, but I would want this element. And I think it's sort of a mashup of that, I think. Holly, don't worry. I'm so glad you can make it. And Leigh-An says cobalt. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about the story, the serial aspect, because that is definitely the bigger part of how I'm publishing this and why I want to make it a serial. So while I was learning about serials and their episode structure, I really like the idea of releasing the episodes over a few weeks' time and being able to engage with my readers continually as they experience the story together. So when you come out with one book and then you wait months and months or a year or 2 years to come out with the next book, you sort of put out the one book and then you're trying to like engage with people as they read that book over time. Now, if you have like a serial where there's all these episodes, it's like you put out a story and you can sort of engage and see what people are thinking, and they're waiting for the next installment to come in fairly quickly. And then the next episode comes and there's another ramp up of, oh, we're excited, and this is the next part of the story. And it's like a TV show, right? Everybody's talking about, oh, the next episode is coming out. What do you think is going to happen next? And I just love all of that stuff. So to put that like in a book format was just like, I was geeking out about it when I first heard about it. Also, besides writing, many of you know I love cultivating community, hence why I do a lot of live streams. And I've always wanted to grow a solid fandom around my story and world. So this seemed like a really cool way to do that. And I am going to talk about how I want to build that in a bit. And then I also loved how each episode of a serial has its own mini arc in the midst of the bigger season arc. And I couldn't help but notice that my story, Ash and Dust, was already subdivided into 6 main parts. So in the story, we have the competition happening, and there are 5 tests that happen during the competition. Each of the clans provides a test for the competitors to compete in. And there's that. And then there's the initial setup of my main character and her kind of internal arc and how she gets wrapped up into the competition. So in essence, I already had like 6 parts of this story that kind of were already subdivided. So my plan when I was thinking about doing the serial was, what if I fast release these 6 episodes as ebooks first, which I've seen done before. And this means that each episode will have its own title and book cover. So on Wings of Ash and Dust will be the full novel or the arc of the whole season of episodes. And then I'll have titles and book covers for each of the episodes within it. So I do have a book cover designer, and she has finished 4 out of the 6 covers. And you guys, she's an illustrator, so it's totally custom. And they have the wings, and I almost spoiled something. But yeah, I'm really excited for you guys to see the covers. My patrons will get to see them first, but I can't wait to share with you them as I publish. And then I also recently revealed the title of the first episode to my patrons. So again, if you want some exclusives, you want to hear all about this stuff first, definitely check out my Patreon. But right now, I'm planning to release a new episode every 2 weeks after I release the first episode. And I want to do a ton of interactive things, like I hinted about before, during the release. So, for example, as you read through the story, you'll kind of be going through the competition in real time with the competitors. So it's like week 1 happens and, they're going through the first test, and week 2 happens and they're going through the first test, but you're like reading it as it's happening. So I thought that it'd be really cool to host some real world contests to mirror that kind of competition feel at the same time. So having like fan art competitions and doing word sprints where you join the fairy clan that you want to join, and then each of the clans like compete in word count, which I've done here on my channel before. And that is just really fun. And then sometime after the episodes have been published, I'll eventually publish all of the episodes into a full novel. And it was really funny. I keep grabbing things that aren't where they are, but it was really funny because I was reading, I've read Six of Crows before, but I finally finished To Kill a Kingdom. Oh, and my camera just went away. I have no idea how long that was gone. So sorry guys, but I'm back. Okay. So let me show you here that I was reading Crooked Kingdom, or Six of Crows also has this, but Leigh Bardugo actually already separates her story, her full-length novel, into parts. And she has like cool kind of artwork with the title of that part within the book. And so I'm looking at this like, this would be so cool that once my book is like a full book, I'll actually still organize it by episodes with the episode cover art in between each section. So that is part of what I want to do too, which I think will be really fun. All right, we're going to get into the plotting method, but I just wanted to check in on you guys in the comments as well. My Leah says, I love that you are doing a serial for this story. I think the fandom will be epic. Thank you. I hope so. So excited. Everybody's excited. Thank you guys so much for being excited with me. Yay. Okay, so let's talk about the plotting method and publishing a little bit more, and then we will wrap up. But question number 5 was, how are you plotting your serial? Usually, I'll just be transparent. An author will plot a serial from scratch with the intended purpose of making it a serial all along, right? And as many wise people have told me before, you shouldn't really, and I want to warn you guys, just in case you're thinking of doing this with your novel, you shouldn't really take a novel, a story that you've written for the purpose of being a novel, and just subdivide it into parts and then publish each part as its own. And here's the danger with that. And these are some of the things that I had to navigate as I was thinking about doing this, is that each episode needs to have its own arc. It needs to have a strong opening, an inciting incident, a rising action, and a climax. And if you just randomly break up a story into parts, each part won't naturally have that, and your readers will be disappointed because they'll get one episode and just feel like they didn't really get an actual like mini story. So before committing to this book being a serial, I took my story and broke it down into the 6 parts that I told you before, and looked at how I could optimize them to be more of an episode. Then I hired a developmental editor explaining what I was thinking of doing with the story, and asked her to let me know if she felt like the way I broke up and adjusted the story could work as a serial. And then in her edit letter, we're getting ahead of ourselves. In her edit letter, she agreed breaking up the story this way could be a really strong serial. So I was really excited, because either way, she was going to tell me like, yes, serial, and I was going to go for it. Or she was going to be like, I don't know if it really works as a serial. Maybe you should stick as a novel. And then I was going to publish it as a novel. So I was really excited. She said she thought it worked as a serial, but she did point out where some things could shift, like chapters could shift from like this episode to that episode, and how we could strengthen the mini story arcs to create really strong episodes. So now I'm having a couple of beta readers read one episode at a time to let me know if they feel like each story has a strong mini arc. And that also gets them excited about continuing to read the end of this series based on how I left them at the end. So far, my small group of betas have read episode 1 and 2, and they both agreed that these 2 episodes so far felt like very strong episodes that felt like their own story, but also felt like it was a continuation, like a strong pull into I need to finish the rest of this series. So I was really, really excited about that. And question number 6 for this tag was, what writing resources are you using as you're writing and plotting your serial? And I've shared a few of these before, but I took a couple courses. One was Long Story Short by Mary Luciano. I did an interview with her on my channel as well. And she started out publishing novellas and like a series of novellas. And so that course was really helpful. I also studied TV show structure because obviously serial, like TV show, but in book form. So Shonda Rhimes' masterclass on masterclass.com. And then there was a free YouTube series called How to Develop a TV Show. And I found that really helpful too. And as I developed my own process, I also created some plotting templates and I shared them in this video. And then you can find all of these resources linked in the playlist where I talk more about each and share even more. So again, that is linked down below if you want to go check that out. And this video will also be added to that along with any other videos I talk about serials. So then number 7, this is our last question, and I think we're doing good on time. Let me know though if you guys have any additional questions you'd like me to answer at the end because we might have a couple extra minutes. But question number 7 is, when are you planning to publish? And so I gave my patrons recently a slightly more specific timeline, but I'm going to let you guys know that I am shooting for this summer for the first episode to come out. And again, every 2 weeks after that, a new episode will be published. And you can now actually follow all of these episodes on Goodreads. All of the episode pages aren't yet on there, so I would definitely suggest following my author page so that when I put out a new episode, you'll get a little alert and you'll be able to see the book covers first. But you can add the full novel On Wings of Ash and Dust to your want to read list right now because it is up there. So that is really cool. And as I'm working on publishing, I'm also going through Sarah Cannon's Publish and Thrive course, and she has so many marketing tips and like different interactive things that I told you guys before. I'm just building on that and having so much fun planning this release for you guys. It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be really fun. And as I go through the publishing process, I've shared with you guys that I'm starting a self-publishing diaries series. So I will have other videos sprinkled in of like how-to videos and different things that my patrons request as usual. But I'm really excited to talk about the publishing process and kind of vlog it and take you behind the scenes and show you all the things that I'm learning along the way. So if you're excited about that, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're letting me know what kind of videos you would like for that series. Okay, I think I have a couple minutes. If you guys do have any questions, I want to look at the comments in a second, but then I want you guys to go check out Leigh-An's video. She's going to talk about her own serial, her story, and why she's publishing it this way. So that is linked down below. It's going to go live if you're watching this live at 1:30, so like in like 8 minutes. But for questions, let me know if you are a patron or a YouTube member, because you guys always get priorities with live questions. And thank you guys again so much for all your love and support. Okay, I do have just like a couple minutes, so I'm just going to, let's see. Holly says, can't wait to hold the physical book. Glad each part will still have the book cover when it's all together. Yes, I think that'll be really fun. Martin says, I love the idea of the full book having a separate page with the individual covers for each episode. Thank you. Let's see. Storytelling says, I'm curious if you have a goal of word count per episode as you plot and write. I'll let you guys know, and this might change over time, but the first episode is currently about 30,000 words. The second episode, there's a couple more scenes and like added description and stuff I want to add, but that's currently 20,000. So I'm trying to like find an even ground. Probably around 25,000 will be the average for each episode, something around there. Comedians, actors, and all says, how do you start writing? There are so many videos on my channel that definitely address this and get you started with how to like come up with a story idea and plotting and all that kind of stuff. So I would need like so much time to sort of unpack that, but I would just say, just start, get some writing friends that you can bounce some ideas off of, and just have fun with it. Join NaNoWriMo, look that up online if you don't know what that is. I have a few videos on it, and check out the videos that I have already. And I'm sure a bunch of us in the comments would love to help you get going if that's what you'd like to do. Mandy's so excited about the episodes. Thank you. Martin, yay. You guys are super excited with me. It makes me happy. All right. My Leah, I love your questions. Let's see. Is it easier to do a serial story that is self-published if you already have an existing audience from platforms like YouTube or previously published books? I mean, I will let you know when I publish it. But that is a great question. I think it would be great if you do have some kind of following already, but I think you could also use this strategy to start building a following because you'll constantly have something to market and something to share and be able to engage with people as they're reading it. I hope that helps in the meantime, but I'll let you know. This is all an experiment for me. This is all like kind of theoretical that I've seen other people do that I am then kind of modeling myself after and seeing if it works for me. And the beauty of this is, you know, if the serial doesn't go quite the way I want to, I can also publish the book as a full novel and compare that and let you guys know, how does that go? Did it work better as a serial or did it work better as a novel? So I think that'll be fun to sort of go into. Cam's excited. Yes, we're so close, Aiden. Let's see. And Gabriella says, so excited for this. Glad I'm not alone in self-publishing this summer for the first time. Yes, if you are publishing this summer, please let me know. I'd love to like both shout out our books for each other's audiences and get excited together. You know how like traditional authors, like they sort of form like groups of like, you know, 2021, like this is like the authors that are debuting in 2021. If you're a debut for 2021, but you're self-published, let me know. We should talk. Martin says, are you doing any paid marketing? If so, which? I, so far, am not planning on doing any paid marketing. I would love to do organic marketing for this wave of the serial. But as I learn more about paid marketing, I'm considering it. I don't want to overwhelm myself. And I do have like a sizable platform that I feel I can get some traction going. So I will let you know and do a video about that, Martin, if and when I decide to do paid ads. That is a great question. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up here. And again, I want to direct you guys to Leigh-Ann's video. She's going to start going live in just a couple minutes. As always, again, huge thank you to my patrons and my YouTube members who are supporting me and my books and this journey. And it's just been so fun. I can't wait for you guys to have a book in your hands or on your Kindle because they will be ebooks first. But yes, this has been awesome to hang out. I'm definitely hoping to have videos to you guys more often, but they might be every other week for a little bit as I finish up edits and get this book finished for you guys. But definitely subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you don't miss when a new video comes out. You can also follow me on Instagram, which is where I definitely promote my videos a whole lot as well. I see another question, but I'm going to have to throw any additional questions into the comments below, not the chat box, but the comments below. And I would love to answer those there. And I will see you guys in Leigh-Ann's video because I'm going to pop over there to hear all about her story. All right. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.